With my coaching program, the different spin that I have in it is it goes in this order: mind, body, business. Because women especially, we cannot separate from our business.
Has your life, your dreams been interrupted? Good news. It is possible to reinvent our lives. People are doing it every day, and some are brave enough to share the struggles, disappointments, and challenges. If you are looking for a new beginning, a do-over, or to rediscover your passion, maybe even find a new one, then grab a cup of coffee and let's talk. Interrupted, Act 2, Reinventing Your Legacy, with your host, Coach Lori.
Dr. Dawn Hunter is the women's beauty business success coach, and I have known Dawn for a while. I've been watching you for a while, and you have done such amazing work. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Lori, and you as well. I'm trying to think, where did we first meet? I think it was at KKNW.
It was Queen It's a New Day, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah, and so you have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
And you are a business success coach. Tell me how you evolved from, because you started by being in the beauty industry. What made you move into creating videos and becoming the success coach?
A natural evolution, I think, that a lot of people that end up in the coaching or training, I like to think of myself as a coach trainer, because training is a different mindset than coaching, kind of blend the two. So originally you start out doing, and then as you get better and better and you evolve and you find systems that work, you then start mentoring others. And that was the natural evolution. Having started in brick and mortar as a chiropractic doctor and starting out of school knowing nothing about anything, a lot of us do, and then working my way through building that to over $1 million sale, and then moving into the medical aesthetics along the journey, and then opening up my academy, which generated over $1 million. So I've kind of reached these crescendos over and over. And I thought, you know what? It is time in my life to give back and to help other women, especially, that are in the beauty sector, from medical all the way through startup esthetician, and be able to fill them with this empowerment and confidence and give them the skills and systems that took me forever to learn. It took me a long time to go through. And I've invested also an immense amount of training in online, really high level training programs myself. And I believe when you invest in yourself, you can give back more. So I've been investing in myself, just like I expect my students to invest in their training. When it came finally to the point where I needed a platform to share my message, I chose YouTube for a reason, because of the nature of the kind of audience that I have. They're more searching for tricks and tips and help, and they tend to go to YouTube. And also because in the beauty industry, it's very visual. YouTube to me is a better platform for me to host and showcase some of the actual tactical things that we do, but also the vibe of the beauty industry versus a straight audio podcast. So every audience has its rhythm on how they get their information. And also YouTube to me just has such longevity. I mean, I've got videos that are playing from 5 years ago that people still look at. I just found that platform for my starting one was the easiest for me, for my audience.
I love that you pointed that out, because often people will think about what's easier for them versus the people that are looking for me. What do they need?
Right. Exactly. And also the behavior of your audience. So for instance, if you are into, technical training, Udemy is actually a better platform. That's where a lot of people go for learning Excel and technical. So you would want to focus on places like that. If you are a book writer, if you're writing books, kind of literature based, and your people are readers, then you want to do more of the Kindle audiobook. I saw a coach one day say, if your audience isn't going to read a book, then don't write a book. And I went, that makes sense, because everybody thinks you have to do all these things, but it's like, if my audience isn't going to read it, and that's not really going to help me, why should I go to all that energy of writing a book when no one in my audience is really going to devour that in the way that I think they might? I think you're right on that, Lori, really understanding and doing a deep dive into your audience and try to see everything through their eyeballs, and then you'll have no problem making good decisions on that.
Dawn, you talked about your evolution from being a chiropractor, moving on, learning. It takes a lot of courage to open an academy. Can you walk us through what it was like for you to go from here to there and to become this teacher?
I think when I go back in time, we all have like a golden thread of our personalities. When you go back to when you were a little kid, we tend to carry our personalities throughout our whole life. And when I really analyze like some things that I found myself doing as a child and the way that I was kind of groomed, by my mom and my grandma, they were all entrepreneurs. So I was basically surrounded by these women that had multiple degrees that were fearless. I mean, my grandmother left Hungary by herself and traveled all across Canada, didn't even speak English, to move to all the opposite end of Vancouver all by herself. We're just kind of these, and I was raised with the influence of I can do pretty much anything I think I want to do. There's no real cap on what I can do. And I was lucky enough to see that at a very young age. And also I think my mom really influenced me. As I would go to school as a little girl, she would leave little sticky notes. Be a leader today. Help somebody today. You know, there was always this kind of positive reinforcement around the house growing up that is probably unique for women in general. I don't think a lot of women are raised that way and get that influence of, and my mom, you know, she had her pilot's license, general contractor's license, accounting license. She kept going. No matter how old she got, she was always the next thing, the next thing. And my grandmother was the same way. And we came from an artist. I mean, my grandmother created all of her own clothing. She made it all from scratch. She painted paintings all over the house, and she ran a real estate business. Like, you know, this is what I grew up with. So to me, it was normal. It was normal from an early age. And I think also being from a single parent family, for a period of time, my mom was single. I saw, and she ran a hotel. She was a VP of a hotel at that time. I just saw women can do whatever they want. So it never questioned me that I could do whatever. So that wasn't the issue. It was more the tactical of how do I do it ABC? What's the technology I need? How do I find my voice and how do I communicate? And which genre do I want to focus on? And the beauty industry just came naturally, having been in chiropractic, and I loved it. And I loved being a doctor, but I felt very capped on where I could go. And also, I quite honestly, to be totally transparent, I really didn't like dealing with insurance and dealing with all of those confinements that I had to be required to do every day of my life. I felt like I was suffocated. Even though I loved helping people, 90% of the business was suffocating me. And so I said, you know what? I've got to trust that inner voice. And as soon as I did, the lion was unleashed, right? Like, it was like, I just felt so good, alignment all the way through my day. I was still helping people. I was still solving problems and making them feel more confident. And I found that that was just a theme that I carried through my life, was like just looking at people, or women especially, and helping them build confidence. It just naturally came from all of that, from that I was gifted, of that confidence I was given from my family. And I just think that it carried through naturally into training and motivation, which then carried into an academy. So it was just a series of gradual steps that led me down that way. And I found along the journey, when I had my medical spa, there was a program called the Master Aesthetic Program that they were bringing out, and they needed some kind of structure. And I jumped in. So I really helped define that legal structure and then offered the training. And that was the first taste of group coaching, was that. And that was about 2014. And that's where it just kind of planted the seed to everything moving forward. In 2015, we sold the med spa, and that's when I launched the Vine Studios and then Vine Academy a year later. And so it just literally came with steps and going through it and learning coaching and grabbing what I could here and there and following mentors along the way and putting it all together. It wasn't a straight shot. It wasn't like, nothing is a straight shot.
Your program is called Divine Studios?
Yeah, the PNU Academy portion, which is Permanent Cosmetic Training Academy and Medical Cosmetics, is called Vine. So VINE is Vine Academy. That's for the tactical getting into the permanent cosmetic profession and becoming an artist. It involves medical cosmetics, which we work with scar and trauma, which is so powerful, working with people that have burns and trauma, breast cancer survivors, like giving them back their confidence. The girls that take this program within a short period of time can get their license, they can become their own independent business owners, and they can make 6 figures a year. So it really helps them also balance their life with their family. They can spend more time with their children and not be so stressed. And it's just a great thing for people that are creative and like this kind of area, they like to help people out in this sector. But the other one we have, which is the success coaching, is called the Profit Academy. So that came as a natural evolution out of the Vine, when I would see the girls get to a certain point. But when the business side hit, they were kind of like thrown out to the wolves. And I said, oh, no, we got to contain that. So we created the Profit Academy, and then we've expanded it for all beauty professionals. So now it's for nurse injectors, all estheticians, lash artists, even med spas and doctors that are just getting started. Like, I literally can help them from day one all the way to scale when they want to build an academy. So if you're starting at like nothing, at scratch, we've got a program for you. If you're mid-level, we got a program. And then if you're ready to like really go to the empire level of building an academy, I got you dialed in there. I've helped a lot of experts build online courses. So along the journey in 2020 is when I stepped into that area. And so I've really got this down to a turnkey system now. So that's where I finally said, all right, I'm really ready. I've got proven systems. And to me, I don't want to bring anything to the market with my name on it until I've actually done it myself and seen that it's actually been successful. Unlike the internet, there's a lot of what I call gurus out there that have actually never done what they're teaching. If you can believe that, Lori, it's actually out there. I've had that happen many times where I've talked to them. I said, well, did you build $1 million academy? Like, how can you teach this? Oh, no. I just know. It's like, I will not buy from someone that hasn't walked the road themselves, because there's too many things that they're not going to understand and they can't confidently help me with. When you're looking for mentors and you're looking for coaching, or people even like learning how to do podcasts from you, it's like you've got to be with people that have actually walked the road and proven success. That should be your number one rule before choosing a mentor. Have they done it actually? And can they really teach me how? That's what you want. You want someone who's already on top of the mountain, who's giving you that rope to pull you up, versus them learning on your dime. You know what I mean? And I see you have to be a little careful on the internet these days. It's a little crazy out there.
When I decided I was going to teach podcasting because I was doing it, I started looking at courses to see what other people were teaching. I would look at the course and then I would look at their podcast. Oh, guess what? They didn't have one.
Oh my God. Now that's pretty blatant. Yes, so, that's just unbelievable.
Yeah. So you're right. And I love it that I love your integrity of, I'm going to do this first. I'm going to make it happen, because I do see that a lot. People say, well, I want to help people. I want to teach them, but yet they haven't got to the place yet.
Exactly. They've rushed through. And I always tell people the universe has a way of teaching you. And the lesson is you can't skip steps. As much as we like to, there's fast tracks and there's certainly mentorship, but that doesn't come free, because people have done a lot of time on their own to find that. So you need to invest in that. But it can save you a lot of time and a lot of pain by going with someone. But you're absolutely right. And it's hard sometimes these days for the consumer, because everybody looks so glossy online. It's so easy to look like $1 million online, but have you really done it? So, you just have to do your due diligence a little bit, check around, make sure that, they have good reviews, that they've actually done it. And before you, invest your hard-earned money into working with somebody. And obviously, Lori, you're always authentic. Like, you've always had true integrity throughout anything you do as well. So I've seen your journey, and yeah, absolutely. So they just have to kind of really make sure that they do a little research on who they're going to invest in.
So something I've noticed, I'll try and pose it as a question to you. When you have people come into, especially the success part, the next part that is going to help them launch their business, do you find that that's harder for people? Like, do you have to do more coaching because they have a lot of belief systems or things that get in the way that they almost don't do it?
Yes, correct. And it's so funny that you mentioned that, because with my coaching program, the different spin that I have in it is it goes in this order: mind, body, business. Because women especially, we cannot separate from our business. I'm sorry, if you're an entrepreneur and you're a female especially, every single one of them, that you take it home with you, it goes on you with vacation. As much as you try to separate it, that's why we say you have to do what you're passionate about, because it's going to follow you throughout your whole life. It's your identity in a way, part of your identity. And that's just how we are as women. We've got a brain that can cross pathways so much faster than men. And we can't separate feelings and action and all of that. So don't try to hardwire yourself differently as a woman. You are that way. So instead, take the power with it, which would be for you to really start looking at how do you get your mindset on track first. And this is part of what I do a lot of work. And to your point, the mindset, it follows in order, right? Mind and then your body, meaning you have to have energy to do this work, right? Laura, you can't be exhausted and terrible. Maybe in your 20s, you can get away with drinking soda and whatever to get through the day. But when you get into a mature level of business, you have to have sustainable energy. So I actually go into that, and I use my chiropractic, natural health to just say, look, this is how you should eat to maintain that high energy you need. And then the business that's actually the third portion, because without those two in front, you can't even build $1 million business. Like, forget about it. So we do tackle that. And often what I find, and to your point, is a self-limiting belief that was implanted in their brains at a very young age. And a lot of women find it very difficult to access that without help. We all have these habitual habits and we're invisible to them now because they're so habitual, but yet our brains are neuroplastic. We can change how we think. We can change how we are. It just takes, you have to have a light to shine on the area that you need to work on. And then you got to do some tactical focused things to work on it. So I talk about this, and some people come with a lot of trauma. And some people come with very little trauma. So you have to figure out where in this road, and a lot of times the trauma that we sustain, if we call it, I'm just using that as a term, is that can build our strength actually. So it's not all negative. It's not all negative. What you do is you got to pick through the pieces that you want to keep and the ones that you say, you know what, you're not valuable to me anymore. Thank you for helping me when I needed you, but you can go sit in the back now because I'm ready to move forward. I don't need that anymore, but you can't get rid of it, right? Like the whole illusion that I can just move on and positive think my way out of it. No, you can't. You have to access that subconscious mind and you have to tell it things. And so we do that with my background with hypnotherapy. So I use NLP and hypnotherapy tactics to help with the mindset that is so important. In fact, I am coming out with a book for this one. It's called The Kinetic Mind. And it's for this specifically. And it's how you connect the body and the mind through physical and how you can hardwire yourself to be more what you want. We could have a whole topic on the mindset. And if you do want to do that sometime, I'm happy to get back on with you and we can dive in. So powerful and so exciting. But for sure, self-limiting beliefs can block you. They creep up on everybody. Doesn't matter what level you are. If you talk to a woman who's got $50 million business, she still has doubt about things. She still feels like imposter syndrome is still there. Even though you get there, you never quite feel like you're there. It's always like the next thing or what can go wrong. It's mindset shifts. And every new level that you get to, there's a new little devil that you have to deal with. So a new little thing. And then you just keep, working your way up as you go and practicing and finding out where those saboteurs are that you got implanted at a very young age that you did not agree to. Most of the time, we did not agree to these messages. They were implanted when we were 1 through 7. We had no control over that. When you're born, you're an open sponge. You're like, you just absorb everything literally. You don't judge anything. Think about all of that. Now our families, depending on what family you came in, and even the best families in the world have ways of saying things that can create self-limiting beliefs, especially for women. We're women. We grew up as women. We understand these subtle things that we've had to deal with all along our way that are like, no, you should be here. You shouldn't be so successful. No, you shouldn't be so loud. No, you shouldn't be so aggressive. Oh, you should be sweet. All those things we hear that you kind of like, what is all that about anyway? I could be powerful. I could be a CEO and I can still be nice and loving and caring. Why do I have to choose one or the other? And that's the thing that women get implanted so young. And even now, the young women now still here, even with all the progression that they've made, they still feel these things. It's a lot more that we have to work through sometimes.
I'm talking with Dr. Dawn Hunter, women's beauty business success coach. And some really big takeaways for me, Dawn, I could listen to you all day, is I love what you said about steps, because I feel like we live in a world where people are trying to help us skip steps and get somewhere quicker. I love that. And also, we don't just evolve and now we don't have doubt. What really surprised me is I came up against a limiting belief a few weeks ago that really put me in a tailspin. And I was like, what is happening? Haven't I learned enough? But it was a new thing. It was a new angle, maybe. For you to say that gave me permission to be like, okay, it's not that I haven't learned anything. It's like now I'm learning more.
Yes. Agreed. Yeah, absolutely. And for women like you that are successful and just keep going and pushing the envelope of what's new, what can I put? I think what happens with people like us and a lot of women, we almost get where we have to have something pressing on us that's new. You feel kind of like something's missing. This is too easy. Life has gotten too easy. I'm bored. I need the next challenge. We put this on ourselves, but what does it do? It gets you to that next step. And even if like, let's say we're in our 70s and 80s and we're like retired-ish, I'm still going to be like, maybe I'm going to learn scuba diving a little better now. Like there's always going to be something. I think it's the nature of entrepreneurial women. I see that as a golden thread. And most of the women that I know that have their own businesses, they're just going and going and don't give up and they just keep moving and changing and pivoting, that I've watched their journeys as well. And I think of like Judy Hoff as a fantastic example. Wow. And what I see is there's never that think for a moment that like, well, I'm not going to challenge myself when I'm not going to sit on the couch and eat bonbons. Like that's actually boring. Like how boring is it to be? Don't get me wrong. We all love vacation and we all need our downtime, right? Our recuperation, but like, I don't need it for months and months and months. I can see myself getting antsy.
Definitely. Well, Dawn, what is it that you really want us to know?
Okay. Well, that's a big open-ended question. Maybe we should fine tune it into what genre would you say? Is it going to be business or life or mindset? Do you have an idea that you want
I've heard someone say if you had to leave this earth tomorrow and all of your books and all of your videos went with you, but you could leave one thing for the next generation, what would you want to leave them with? What would you really want them to take away from you?
Oh gosh, I'm at legacy already? That's making me feel old. Okay. I would say that I would focus on probably mainly women, and I would tell them that they have so much more power than they allow themselves to shine with, and to really let all of your talents shine and not hold back because of something in society or some other person is telling you this and that. And also really listen to your inner voice of whatever that is that you absolutely passionate about, and make that your career. And don't hesitate. Life is too short to hesitate. Realize also that failing forward is part of the process. There is no such thing as failure, in my opinion. They're just failing forward. You're just learning lessons. I mean, even if you go bankrupt and you live in a U-Haul trailer, that's a lesson, right? You've learned something. So look at each journey and each step as a process of empowerment, of growth, and let that inner part of you shine, all of it, and don't hold anything back. That's what I would say.
I heard Dr. Amen say, we win or we learn.
Yes, I love that. That's fantastic.
Tell us all the ways we can find you and connect with you.
Yes, absolutely. So obviously you can find me on my YouTube channel. I also have my Facebook page, which you can find me on Facebook, Dr. Dawn Hunter. We've got the Profit Academy website. You can find me on Instagram. I mean, all the social channels, I'm there, TikTok. So just put me in there and you will find me. And we also offer to anybody that needs help. We do always offer free consultations to help see whether we can help you or not, or what you need help with. And often I direct people to people that can help them on things that I'm not able to. And I love all of you. And remember that you are worthy and you are fabulous and you are amazing. And remember that some of the things you think are trauma are actually your strengths, and to hone them into the direction that you want to go, and go for it. Just go for it.
Thank you so much. Through the years that I've watched you and known you, I've just seen you do these amazing things, but our conversations have never been like this. And I love what you're bringing to the world. I love how you're helping people. And I love how you just are so willing to move into what's next, because I see so many women that aren't. Yeah. They get stuck and they stop. And I love your message. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Lori. And my goal this next year is to get a lot more visible online and to be able to get more messaging out and be parts of different women's organizations.
If you love this podcast, here's a big ask. Will you share with your friends and family, subscribe, give us a review, and a 5-star rating so that others looking to reinvent their lives will be able to get the help they're looking for? Thank you in advance.